Hey, everybody, this is Freddie Cohen of ESPN Radio. When I'm not talking about breaking news or breaking news on ESPN Radio, I'm always a fan and listening to the Detroit Sports Podcast, and so should you.
All I want to know is if you got your popcorn ready. Do you got your popcorn ready?
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
I said, are you strong? They said, I'm strong if you strong. And I said, we strong then.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Darren McCarty gets his shots in at Claude Lemieux. And look who came all the way out to try to help. Patrick Waugh. Oh, my goodness.
You are listening to the Doc and Jock Show on the Detroit Sports Podcast.
Doc and Jock ready to deliver another great podcast. Lots to get to. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Joining me, my favorite cousin, Adam the Jock Strozinski. What's up, cuz?
Big week, man. Lots of moves, lots of stuff to talk about, all kinds of craziness. Just when Detroit fans were down and crying about Suh, huge moves. Before free agency even opened up, Lions went out there. It smells a little bit of desperation, but I like it. We're going to hash that out. We're going to talk about Suh. What else are we going to talk about? We got all kinds of stuff that we're talking about today.
Exciting day. Just as we're prepping to do this podcast, we creep into the office and news breaks. We all thought, okay, did Martin Mayhew and Tom Lewand have any kind of plan? Now, when Suh was, when news broke over the weekend that Suh was going to Miami, it kind of put a damper on the weekend too. What a crappy weekend it was last weekend with the Tigers losing, with the Pistons losing, with the Red Wings not playing well. And then you couple that with the Suh news. It really made for a dapper weekend. And so people were saying, okay, now you have some cap money. What are you going to do? Haloti Ngata traded 31-year-old defensive lineman coming into town. We're going to talk about what his impact could be. We're going to talk about, do we have confidence now that we have to look to the draft? We have to look to Lewand and Mayhew to rebuild this defense, maybe take it to a 3-4, maybe do some things outside the box. Do we have faith in the management at this point in time with the Detroit Lions? Also, on this very podcast, we're going to have a chat with a professional agent. Leigh Steinberg has been practicing as a professional agent for well over 40 years. And I reached out to him and he replied and was like, yeah, sure, no problem. And so he gave us a few minutes earlier this week, and we'll play that, an interview with Leigh Steinberg to get an agent's perspective on negotiating big contracts and how should we feel as a Detroit fan base regarding Ndamukong Suh. We're going to play a round of Jock Jams. The Doc has been waiting to fire off some great questions to the Jock, and I know you're ready to deliver. Also, some great segments, some new segments. We're going to do the Instagram account of the week, and also
Hot chicks.
I
love hot chicks.
And also, as a slacker, I'm perusing Facebook. Instead of working, I'm browsing Facebook, and a lot of weird stuff pops up on my timeline. And a couple things this week popped up that I looked at, and I was like, oh my goodness. So we'll hash it out. We'll debate the WTF Facebook timeline post of the week later on in this podcast. Also, we're going to take your phone calls. We can take your phone calls regarding Suh, regarding the Lions. We have a caller lined up, but we're going to get to you just in a few minutes before we get to our takes regarding Suh. So, cuz, it broke over the weekend, and what was your reaction? Kind of knowing, when we started talking about Suh, we both knew in regards to how the cap structure would go, how the Lions have handled it, that it was likely Suh was going to sign elsewhere. But when the news broke, he's going to sign with Miami. What'd you think?
I wasn't really surprised. Last week we talked about it. Miami was my other team. I thought the Lions had a great shot at bringing him back, but Miami went above and beyond and actually paid a fortune to bring Ndamukong Suh down to South Beach. So it didn't really surprise me. I wasn't really stunned by it. I was finally excited to see what the Lions had offered, and I thought that was a pretty fair offer. It was 17 with 58, 17 per season for 6 years with 58 guaranteed. It's pretty nice, but Miami went above and beyond, 19 per year for 6 years with 60 guaranteed. That's a ton of money. So there's no way Ndamukong Suh is turning that down, because he said at the start of all of this that it's whoever pays me the most, that's where I'm going. And Detroit just didn't have the cap flexibility to sit there and compete with a team like Miami. Miami had a ton of space, and they had no problem spending the money. Detroit just could not match that. It just wasn't going to happen. So I wasn't really surprised. A little bit disappointed, I will say that much, because I really feel like everything that we've kind of invested in, all that hard work that the Lions put into developing that defense, it now has to get reshuffled. The deck now has to be reworked, and they have to now come back and after having the second best defense overall in the NFL, now you've got to sit there and you got to try to piecemeal something and put it together to try to get some semblance of something productive. And he might not be the best defensive lineman in the NFL, but he sure as hell made everybody else around him that much better. So it'll be sad to see Ndamukong Suh go.
Now, my anger, it's interesting my reaction, how it went. My anger wasn't that much over the weekend because we kind of felt like, okay, yeah, he's gone. Mm-hmm. But then when I spoke with Leigh Steinberg, which you'll get a chance to listen to later on in the podcast, it made me angry because I basically pointed to him and said, hey, if Suh said I want to be in Detroit, would you push for him to stay or take the big money deal? And Leigh said, no, if my client says to me, get me the best deal with the team, they look at a lot of factors, and he would have made it happen. So this was, in my opinion, Suh said to himself, okay, I want to take the route of, I want to be a businessman. I want to get the most money possible. So now I sit here and you know what? When the official press conference happens and Suh's standing there as a Miami Dolphin, I will officially begin to hate Ndamukong Suh. And in all honesty, he did.
You'd hate him before?
No, I didn't hate him before. Because
he's
you know what?
Such a polarizing guy.
He was a polarizing guy, but he produced on the field. When you produce on Sunday, it wipes away how you act in the media, wipes away your antics and things like that. He produced. He helped this defense do some things that we hadn't seen in a long time.
You're a pretty liberal guy, dude.
Yeah, so for that, I give him credit. But now he's gone. He's an ex-Lion. He's no longer part of our discussion, and I have anger for him just due to the fact that he didn't want to stay here, and he used Detroit as leverage in order to get a big deal, and I don't like that. But we're looking now to the future. So news broke earlier this week, Haloti Ngata. The Lions went to, old stomping grounds. Jim Caldwell has ties now with Baltimore, so they look to Baltimore. And Haloti Ngata had a suspension last year. He's 31 years old, got a big $16 million cap number, and a lot of people are saying, okay.
It's only 8.5. That's what's going to count against the Lions, 8.5.
A lot of people are like, okay, how does this move help the Lions retool that defensive line? So your opinion now, you heard the news. Haloti Ngata, new member of the Detroit Lions defense.
When we started talking about this a few weeks ago and what would happen if Suh wasn't going to be here, Haloti Ngata was a guy that I had sat there and I had zeroed in on, and a guy that I thought that the Lions could go out and get, and it would make a lot of sense. And it would, for a lot of reasons that we had stated prior, because I really do believe that they're now switching to a 3-4 defense. Haloti Ngata is a big guy. You're right. He's 31. He's on the downside of his career. Initially, when I heard the news that they traded for him, I was like, if they give up a 4th round pick, I'm okay with that. If they give up a 5th round pick, even better. Turns out they gave up a 4th and a 5th. I think that's a little bit high, but this move screams of desperation on the Lions' part. I really do believe that Tom Lewand and Martin Mayhew were so arrogant with Ndamukong Suh that they thought that he was coming back. They legitimately thought that they had him right where they wanted him. And then Miami comes in and offers a boatload of money to him. And they were left scrambling. And right at, the witching hour, they go out and they make a move to bring in Haloti Ngata. And I think Haloti Ngata will work. And I think that you can expect to see the Lions extend him probably 2, maybe 3 years. So you're going to have him until he's 34, 35. And I think you can get enough out of him to where you're going to be okay. And what'll happen is he's kind of a Band-Aid. You're just going to kind of use him as a stopgap. They're going to look to either draft they're going to have to look to draft a nose tackle because, like I said, they're going to a 3-4. That's exactly what's going to happen. And I know Abe's waiting on the line. I know Abe wants to. Last week, Abe told me I was smoking crack and I was crazy. But Abe, I'm telling you, get prepared for it, buddy. This is what's going to happen.
Abe in Southfield, what's going on, buddy?
It's not going to happen.
It's going to happen, dude. It's totally going to happen. Dude, Haloti Ngata is way too big. Way too big, and they've got too many linebackers.
Haloti Ngata, you're right, is a 3-4 end. I've seen people say that he's a nose tackle. He's not a nose tackle. He's never played a nose tackle. He's a 3-4 end and can be a 4-3 D tackle also. They're similar positions. Not the same, but they're similar. And you still don't have the pieces around.
They have too many linebackers on this team.
Who's your outside linebacker? Who's your inside linebackers? Who's your nose tackle? You don't have any of those guys lined up.
You've got DeAndre Levy, who can play outside linebacker. You've got Tahir Whitehead, and you've got Steven Tulloch. You got Steven Tulloch, who can be your middle linebackers. Yes, in a 3-4. And you can put two middle
linebackers and two outside linebackers. Your outside linebackers pretty much are pure pass rushers. Look at the top tier 3-4 outside linebackers.
And you don't think DeAndre Levy? You don't think DeAndre
Levy is not as much of a pass rusher as these other guys are.
You don't think DeAndre Levy's athletic enough to be able to do that? He's been probably the second best defensive guy on this team.
Years already. Completely change your position.
I think he's athletic enough, and I think he has the ability to where he could be just fine as a pass rusher. I think he's athletic enough. He's quick enough. I don't see a problem with this. I don't.
And what do you do with Ziggy Ansah?
Ziggy Ansah is going to be your D lineman right there. He's going to be on your edge.
But that's what I'm saying. The 3-4 D end is not an edge guy. It's not a pass rusher type.
Right.
It's more of a run stuffer type. Like a D tackle is.
Generally, you want them bigger, and I agree with you. You usually want them bigger, but this is going to be something that this is what I believe, and I could be wrong. We'll see what happens come fall, but I think that he's a smaller guy on a 3-4 for your edge, and I think he can stuff the run, and I think he can sit there and he can help collapse that pocket. And then that right there will free up.
I'd move him to the outside linebacker and be the pure pass rusher.
You could do that too.
Remember this, when he was drafted, he only played 2 years of organized football before that?
That's right.
I mean, this guy doesn't have the football IQ to really just change positions and know his assignments and know everything. He's a freak athlete, and that's why he's a great pass rusher. Go get the quarterback. That's your assignment. That's pretty much all he has to do. You switch him to a 3-4 end, your assignment's completely changed. It's more of stop the run, get to the quarterback, and you have that opportunity.
So, Abe, what's your confidence level regarding Lions management in terms of rebuilding this team, rebuilding this defense now that Suh took his talents to Miami?
I'd have no confidence. I don't see a reason why you should. The management hasn't proven anything to show that they can build a great defense around. Everything's built around Suh, and now that he's gone, what great pieces do you have to really build a defense around? Levy, who's going to be a free agent next year also, who knows if he's going to get re-signed or if he wants to re-sign.
I think Levy will get extended. I think that's their next move that they have to focus on is extending Levy. You've got Ziggy Ansah, who you mentioned before. I think Ziggy Ansah is a piece that you can work with and you can build with. You're right. This defense was predicated on having Ndamukong Suh right there in the middle. But now, because of stupid moves that the Lions have made by not drafting a guy like Aaron Donald, not sitting there and keeping the tender for Nick Fairley so they can have him for another year, they now put themselves in this situation. And that's all because Lewand and Mayhew are idiots. And I think we both can agree on that. But you do have some pieces. This isn't like the 0-16 team where you had absolutely nothing. I think you have a guy like DeAndre Levy who I think he's a really good linebacker. I think that guy he's freakishly athletic.
I think he's a budding superstar.
Exactly. I think he's the next big thing. And then you've got a guy like Ziggy Ansah who, like you said, he's an athletic freak. And you're right. His job is to get to the quarterback. Just get to the quarterback and just knock him down. That's his job. I think that he's smart enough and I think he's capable enough to where if they had to, they can change to a 3-4 and it's going to be okay. I think he'll be okay. You're right. He's a little bit smaller. When you have a 3-4, you generally want your guys bigger on the end. You actually want that whole D line. You pretty much want it huge so it can all stop the rush and just kind of collapse the pocket. But I think they'll be okay.
Now with the Ngata trade, I think I actually happen to really not like the trade because they gave up a fourth and a fifth for really a 1-year rental. I don't think he'll end up coming back. And even if he does, he's 31 now. How much longer is he going to play?
I agree with you, Abe. I thought, once the news came down that the trade was made, Adam kind of seems like he's got a little bit of an excitement. He's really happy here in the studio
right now.
Why? I don't know. I just
But
think
that was why. That was their plan. That was the whole organization's plan. Like, oh, we're going to get this big name guy. We lost to all this crazy stuff. I'm like hyperventilating with all the free agency and trades going on. Like, I can't breathe anymore. But that's what the Lions wanted to do. They wanted to get this big name guy out there, get all the fans excited, and not let them really think about the ramifications that might have in front of it.
All right, Abe, thank you for calling. We greatly appreciate it. Thanks for calling us up.
All right, have a good one.
Let's keep the train moving. Thank you for the callers. We got another call now from the 586. Let's go and see who's with us.
Yeah, Carrick Jones from CST Radio calling in to talk to you guys on this one.
Carrick Jones, our favorite Pittsburgh lover here. What's going on?
Well, I'm a little concerned because I think the Lions brass is once again screwing the fan base royally. They let Suh go, and now they go and get Ngata to fill in. I think we can switch to a 3-4. That's not going to be an issue. Ziggy he's a wonderful athlete, but I think the issue is why did they not go make a splash in free agency? You had all those big name guys. You could have went and got a lockdown corner, and they're sitting there twiddling their thumbs, and then they just traded 2 picks away.
So on your end,
they need to build through the draft.
So on your end, thumbs down on the Ngata move?
Well, he's good, but you're trading for a guy who's old, and look at Vince Wilfork. Yeah, he's playing really well, and you're reuniting Ngata with his old defensive coach in Terrell Austin. But unless we're going to bring back a bunch of Baltimore Rentals, I'm kind of scared about the Lions. I'm not going to if I was the Lions, I'd go invest in Jake Long right now and possibly go after the offensive tackle from the Packers, because you're going to need to keep Stafford upright so he can do all the work, because you can't bank on your defense like you did last year.
I like the Jake Long move. I thought the same thing when I seen he got released from St. Louis. I think a lot of what hamstrung the Lions with free agency was them pinning all their hopes on Suh, and then them being hamstrung with just their cap issues. They only have $17 million to work with, which sounds like a lot of money, but isn't really a lot of money. I mean, now you've got Haloti Ngata coming in. He's going to eat up 8.5 of that. So now you're working with, $9 million approximately? It's going to be really hard to sit there and fill a lot of holes with that little bit of money. You're talking about lockdown corners. Did you want like Darrelle Revis? He's talking that he wants $20 million, $16 to $20 million to sign. You're not going to be able to go out and afford a guy like that.
No, but you could go, you could sign one of the older guys like Cromartie to a 1-year deal. That's cheap. He's not going to go get a lot of money on the market. That
might happen. That still might happen. And both those moves still might be able to happen. But I think they needed to address the D-line because they hinged all their hopes on signing and bringing Suh back. So I think they now address that issue of bringing Haloti Ngata in. Now you can maybe go get a guy like an A.J. Hawk, who works great in a 3-4. Or you can go and get a guy like an Antonio Cromartie and then bring him in, plug him in, and I think you'll be okay. I think they really needed to figure out that D-line first. I think that was kind of they sunk their own battleship here. It was dumb moves made by Lewand and Mayhew.
It's too bad because the Lions, they could have brought back Suh, paid all that money, and had essentially basically the same team coming back, and now they're scrambling. And it's too bad for the Lions fans. We've waited so long for them to be decent, and now the management and the ownership has just told us, you know what? We don't really care about y'all. And it's sad. I'm as a Lions fan, I am sad right now because Ngata's, like you guys said, it's just a placeholder.
He's not Suh, but what can you do when you have someone, like in a relationship? If you're dating someone and they don't want to be with you, you can't be that person just chasing. I think they did know that Suh was not likely to come back, and they did what they had to do. They're trying to save face, but I think fans who are in the know realize that the Lions, it's going to take overwhelming luck and success to keep success rolling, and we shall see. Thanks for calling us up. We appreciate it.
Let's talk about Lewand and Mayhew real quick, because that's where a lot of irritation for me comes from them. Do you realize that they have nothing to show from the 2010 and 2011 drafts? You have guys like Ndamukong Suh, who's now in Miami. Guys like Javid Best, who was concussion prone when they drafted him and is now out of the league. Amari Spivey, I think he's pumping gas. Jason Fox, I think he ended up going back to Miami and he's now down there. Willie Young, he's in Chicago. Tim Toon, that guy needs a haircut, and he's definitely pumping gas. All right, and then you go Nick Fairley. He's probably not coming back. Titus Young, that guy is in a mental ward somewhere. Mikel LaShore, bum. Doug Hogue. Who? Right, exactly. Johnny Colbreth. He was the other guy who was sitting there smoking weed and eating fucking potpourri. He was that guy. Do you realize the best draft class they had was 2013. And you know what happened in 2013? Brian Zanders took over the scouting and the development of this team. Mayhew's a bonehead.
Listen. We do have to discuss, yes, the drafts from 2010, 2011, not fruitful. But 2014 draft also ranks as pretty shitty, in my opinion. Brian Zanders on this staff. And if you look at that draft in totality, that 2014 draft, we can look back on and saying this is a sentinel draft that really screwed up the organization. Any organization with half a brain would realize, okay, Suh is a guy who's hired a high-powered agent. Jimmy Sexton's not sitting there going, Suh, you know what? I think you should stay in Detroit. I think you should capitalize on your market. I think you should establish roots there. I think that's what he told him. Get out of here. Suh told him, listen, get me the most money I can get in a great market, and if it's in Florida or in a state that has no income tax, hook it up. And that's what he did. And so the Lions organization should have had some knowledge and some awareness as to what was going on. So then you don't draft Eric Ebron, number 10.
I agree with you.
And Brian Zanders is on that staff.
But here's the thing. He's not the one who makes the final call.
No, he's not.
He's not. And I don't have intimate knowledge, just like you don't have intimate knowledge of what happened on draft day. But I'm pretty damn sure, because he strikes me as a pretty smart football mind, that he said, hey, we've got this talent. Aaron Donald's a Pro Bowl defensive tackle.
First year.
He's a Pro Bowl defensive tackle. I mean, the guy has talent, and that was the whole thing about him when he was coming out, was how good he is.
Oh, my God.
Why did we pass on him? Why?
Oh, my God.
Because Mayhew's an idiot, man. I hinge all that on Martin Mayhew, dude. I really do. Because he's the one who, at the end of the day, has the final say. He's the one who sits there and hands the little piece of paper in. He's the one who makes that pick. Eric Ebron, I don't even know how he's going to fit in next year. I'm still questioning it and scratching my head. Like, what's going on here? How are you going to work? Because you sucked this year. We already had a tight end who couldn't catch footballs. Now we have another one. The one that we just drafted, he's just a little bit more athletic. So what, he can run a little bit faster and jump a little bit higher and still not bring the ball in? What the hell is this?
It's really quite ridiculous when you really stop to think about it. Before the Ngata move, cuz reports were surfacing that the Lions had $17 million in dead money, highest ranked in the NFL. And teams like Green Bay, teams like New England, the average in the NFL was around 5 to 6 million. The Lions three times as much wasted money.
Just throw it away, man.
Away money.
Like they have a tree and they just pull it off the tree and then they just set it on fire. That's what it feels like.
The Ford family tree, pumping out money for the family.
Dude,
it's bad.
It's ridiculous. It just doesn't make any damn sense, man.
Okay.
Like, I don't understand why they do the things that they do. I really think they just do it to piss everybody off and frustrate us. I really do. Instead, you go get a guy like Eric Ebron. What?
My goodness. Well,
I'm interested to see how Kyle Van Noy pans out, though. Everybody's high on him. I think Larry Webster's a good pick. Travis Swanson, you kind of seen he's going to be taking over for Dominic Raiola this year. So they've got some talent from that 2014, but Eric Ebron's an astounding dud.
This is the year he's got to, put up or shut up. But now, cuz a lot of people have talked about it in the past few years, lots of free agents that have played in Detroit kind of bolted. Max Scherzer, the Tigers got out in front of that quickly by putting out the offer and letting everybody know, hey, he turned it down. That was basically like the writing was on the wall that he wanted a big money deal, and he ended up leaving. And Ndamukong Suh, arguably, he could go down as one of the best defensive linemen of all time, and we let him walk for nothing. So, and also, this is not new to the Lions. The Lions had a Hall of Fame running back just abruptly fax in his retirement. He was just like, you know what, I'm out. And Barry Sanders left an indelible mark both on the field and off the field, but a lot of people still do not forgive him for what he did and how he left the organization. So I pose the question to you, which loss is going to be more meaningful and more hurtful to the Lions organization, the loss of Barry Sanders or now the loss of Ndamukong Suh, in your opinion?
I think the loss of Barry Sanders is probably a harder pill to swallow just because at the time, and I think going down into history, he was the best back that you've ever seen in the NFL. I think the issue with Ndamukong Suh was the way it was handled by the organization. If you look at this, the way the organization handled this, they basically gave Ndamukong Suh all the power. There was a way to keep him here. Instead, they sat there, restructured his contract twice, upping his franchise tag up to almost $27 million. So it made it impossible to franchise the guy because you didn't have the money on the books to be able to do that. Then what happens is you don't draft anybody to sit there and cover your own ass by letting a guy like Aaron Donald go. Instead, you take Eric Ebron. And then you sit there and you have a guy like Nick Fairley that you could sit there and you have the rights to for another year. It's only going to cost you $5.5 million. You have his rights for another year. Instead, the year prior, you say, I don't want him. We don't want him. We're going to let him go. We're not picking up his tag. We're just going to we're going to release him into free agency. So the organization then turns around and comes out and for an entire year says, we're confident we're going to get a deal done. We know we're going to get a deal done. We're going to do this. We're going to get a deal done. And then reports come out that they offered him a fairly competitive contract, but then a team like Oakland comes in, drives the cost up, and Miami comes in and backs a Brinks truck up and pays this guy $19 million a year. So you shoot yourself in the foot, and you shot yourself in the foot numerous times. At this point, all you have is a stub, you know? You look like Cheddar Bob. That's exactly what's going on. The Detroit Lions front office looks like Cheddar Bob shooting themselves in the dick. That's exactly what's happened here. So I think the harder pill to swallow was probably Barry Sanders because he was the best back in the NFL. And he did things that just made your jaw drop. But what happened with Ndamukong Suh and the way all of this worked out was ridiculous. And this was all caused by the front office.
Yeah, because can you imagine what the Lions organization does to you? You get to the point where, okay, you kind of realize it's going to be so uphill. It's going to be such an uphill climb to get to the mountaintop that people will go to Miami. People will fax in their retirement. They'll go to worse teams. And Ndamukong Suh arguably went to a worse team, a worse defense than the Lions. A worse defense. Why?
He's going to look so weird in that tealish green jersey.
Why wouldn't he just stick it out in Detroit? You're rich. How much more money do you need? It doesn't make any sense. I understand you want to build your brand. You want to probably enjoy the lifestyle in Miami. I understand all that. But the Lions did a lot for you. When he came in and at the time in the old rookie scale, they only gave him a 5-year deal when most of the teams were signing for 6. And
again, shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah. So the Lions kind of showed you some respect. You didn't have to hold out. They showed you respect. They paid you a boatload of money, upwards of over $60 million.
Do you remember when he signed his deal? What came out? The reason why they wanted the 5-year deal?
No, what happened?
Was for this day right here. Was for March 10th, 2015. It was so he could get to free agency that much faster and make that much more money ahead of the curve. And the Lions sat there and they helped that along.
Yeah, now getting back to the question I asked, I think the Suh loss is going to be devastating for years to come because here's the thing. It doesn't happen too often where a player, look what happened in Houston. J.J. Watt's deal comes up and Houston doesn't even allow his contract to expire. They sign him early. They get the negotiating done early. And a lot of people are questioning the Lions and why we asked earlier in the podcast, how much do we blame Lewand and Mayhew? If you pump up this offer, $58 million guaranteed or $60 million guaranteed, over $100 million last year, you float that out to the media, he's going to sign it. Why wouldn't he? Instead, you let him get to this point, thinking what? Based on his trust? I mean, you're sitting there in a meeting with him. Suh's like, yeah, I'm going to sign here. Yeah, no problem. Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's not how the conversation went.
He probably was like, oh, Marty, man, it's all good, brother. I'm going to be here. We're going to do this all together, my man. It's all good. And you took that. You took the high five and the handshake, the manly chest bump as being all good. You took that. You bought that. As a general manager, you got to accept that and also stab him in the back. You should have traded him. You could have got you could have got multiple first-round picks. You could have gotten multiple first, second, third-round picks for a guy like Ndamukong Suh. The Lions have to be forward-thinking, and they just aren't that. They're more reactive than proactive, and that's why I just feel like it's going to be a lot of people keep bringing up this organization. If you stick with them, will never ever win, and your heart will be broken. I just think that this defense right now is going to take a step back, and the schedule is a little bit more difficult. The Lions right now are in a situation where they should have either went all in last season or they should have done some things to be proactive, and they dropped the ball, and I just don't think that it gives you confidence that they're going to do a whole hell of a lot, especially when now you bring in a guy who's 31, had a suspension last year. You think you're going to get the best out of him? There's a potential that he's going to miss some games with some injuries, some minor injuries and things like that. And you're going to change a system. Everyone thinks, okay, we're going to change to a 3-4 just because Terrell Austin performed well last year.
He's a wizard with defenses, bro. Come on.
Okay, look at the ass backwards thinking of the Lions. Look, they don't even know how to. They don't even know how
it
to.
It totally messes up your mind when you think of.
Yeah,
when you sit there and you try to actually put stuff together and do things.
Look at the ass backwards way the Lions are thinking. Who was the hot name going around the circuit for being a potential new head coach? the Lions defensive coordinator. So you know what the Lions are going to do? They're going to implement a 3-4 for 1 year. Our coach is going to leave, and a new guy is going to come in and probably switch it back the next year. That's what the Lions will do, because that's how they function. Don't you think that Terrell Austin's going to be gone after the 2015 season and be a head coach?
I think it'll depend on what happens. I think it really and truly it'll depend on if he can get this defense back up to a similar place where it was during the 2014 season.
Just the very miracle of the fact that he got this defense in the top 5 in his first year will probably earn him a head coaching job in the NFL, because there's so many retreads. So the Lions have to be thinking, okay, I'm hoping he doesn't change the defense to a 3-4, because then you're going to have to stick with it, and then you're going to have a new guy come in. And are they going to be able to do that? You would think yes. You would think that is the likely thinking, but I just don't believe that that's going to happen.
I really think the Ngata trade was made just to sit there and help Tom Lewand and Martin Mayhew save their jobs, because I really feel like they are in positions now where they have to win. They have to win, and they have to be productive in order to keep their jobs. I think it's on the line. And that's why they go out and they sit there and they give up a 4th and a 5th round pick to get a guy like Haloti Ngata, who, like you said, he's 31. He's a little bit up there. He's got 1 more year left on his deal, so he may be a rental. I think they'll extend him, though, and I think you're going to get good production out of him. But you're right. If they are looking to switch their defensive scheme, that now puts you another year behind, because it's going to take another year of development, and you don't necessarily have all the pieces that you need for a 3-4 defense.
Thank you to those who are listening online and who are calling us up. We're not going to try to put our callers on hold too long, so we got a caller from the 586. Welcome, caller. Who's this? And thank you for calling the Detroit Sports Podcast.
It's Jeremy the King from the Motor City Sports Rant.
What's up, J-Bone?
I should have screened this one for sure.
What's up, dude?
You're not doing your job. You gave it to Vinny all over our podcast.
No, I'm not. I can be honest here. I'll be honest with you, King. It costs money, so I'm not going to do that. I'll just punch it up, and whatever happens, happens. I'll deal with it. What's your take, brother?
Dude, I think this Ngata deal is a great sign. I think we're not going to be able to replace Suh, but I think Ngata, whether we do go over to a 3-4 or if we stay with the 4-3, I think it puts us in a good position.
Oh, my God, Jason, come on. Don't buy into the Kool-Aid, man. He's 31 years old, coming off of a suspension last year. You think
that was for PEDs, dude. He's a big, strong man. He's even bigger and stronger with the help of steroids.
Exactly. Now that he's going to be off the roids, he's going to whittle down and look like me. Come on now.
No, dude, it's gonna take a whole lot more for him to look like you.
So you're all loving the deal, huh, Jason?
I think it's a good deal. I think it's a little bit. It's not as bad as Adam was just saying that Mayhew and Lewand are trying to save their jobs.
Oh, dude, I'm totally for the deal.
If anything,
don't get it mixed up. I'm for the deal. I'm excited about it. I'm excited for the deal. I'm happy that he's here. Did it not sound like I was happy that he was here?
Well, I am too.
I'm not going to fight you on it. I'm not going to fight.
On the DocNJock show.
That's right. I'm not going to fight you on it. I'll sit there and I'll fight John about it all day long.
No, man. This is a typical Lions move, Jason. I mean, you replace a Hall of Famer with a guy who's past his prime, and you give up 2 mid-round draft picks for it, too.
That's right. You got a Pro Bowler, though.
Oh, my gosh. Jason.
Who would you rather have? Would you rather have a guy who is a known commodity, or from what we've seen in Lions draft, we can't draft? So we're going to draft who? Ryan Broyles and somebody else in the 4th and 5th round.
Let me go get another tight end.
That's why I'm not giving them the chance to have excuses. Draft properly. Learn how to create a draft board, and when you have a chance to get a guy similar to Aaron Donald in a draft, and you have a player who could potentially leave, you draft the right guy. That's why the Lions organization are always in a rut, is because they're always 2 steps backwards instead of thinking ahead 1 step. And I was just talking to Adam before you called. The Lions are going to probably go to a 3-4, and then Terrell Austin's going to leave. That's what's going to happen.
I can't argue about Aaron Donald. That guy, he would have been a great pickup. Him or Odell Beckham. Pretty much anybody other than Ebron would have been a good pick. I mean, it's kind of like the Darko pick in hindsight, where there are all these great players that we know that they would have been better now. But, when the Darko pick happened, everybody was saying that Darko was going to be a great player. And, I bought into the Kool-Aid a little bit last year. I thought Ebron, he still has the potential to be a great tight end. It just sucked that he dropped a turd last year.
Yeah. Now, Jason, before we let you go, in honor of this Thursday being SmackDown Thursday, WWE rolled into town. Have a listen, man.
But to be the man, you got to beat the man. And I'm saying, woo, right here. I'm the man. Woo!
Woo! You know it. Doc and Jock, baby. Always delivering the goods. You know it.
Jason,
All right, good
have a
talking to you
good
guys.
one, dude. Take it easy. You're going to leave me with this guy.
Doc and Jock taking your calls regarding Ndamukong Suh, the trade for Haloti Ngata. We got another call. Let's go to him. Caller.
Hi, this is Diana calling in. How are you guys?
Diana, what's going on?
What's up, girl?
Nothing much. I give it a thumbs up, but I'm a little concerned about what we gave up to get him.
You don't like that 4th and 5th round?
Yeah, because you usually find, I think, jewels in those rounds, and that concerns me a little bit. And he was suspended 4 games last year for violating the league substance abuse policy. So I have some reservations, but at the same time, I want to reserve my judgment also. So see how it plays out.
Now, Diana, I agree with you. Other NFL teams find gems in the 4th and 5th round, not the Lions. The Lions could trade their 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th round picks. I mean, we pass on great players. I mean, we take guys that we take tight ends instead of taking Pro Bowl linemen and Aaron Donald. So that's the Lions for you.
Yeah, that's true. And now that Suh is gone, I'm even more worried now about our secondary because that front 4 was stout. And it kind of, I think, covered up for the shortfalls of the secondary. But now with Suh being gone, I think we have to go after the cornerback too. So I'm on pins and needles right now about what our defense is going to look like. But we'll see what happens. I'll hang in there with my team.
Okay.
But, I'm a little nervous.
Now, Diana, how long have you been a Lions fan? How long have you been suffering like Adam and I?
I've been a Lions fan since I was 13 years old. So I actually did not like football at first, but my dad changed all that. So I'm ride or die.
That's a good man, and you're a good woman. That's what I'm talking about.
Diana, you said, oh my gosh, hold on. Say that again. Say, I'm Diana and I'm ride or die for the Lions.
Yes, Diana, and I'm ride or die for the Lions.
I love it.
And you know what? Martin Mayhew and Tom Lewand are kicking their feet up going, thank God we have fans like Diana. You have to be a little bit more cynical. You got to be a little more cynical.
Listen, don't go bashing Lions fans. You're the worst of all of us.
I am at the point now where I go back and forth. Sometimes I'm hopeful to try to.
Yeah.
John's a bandwagon fan, is what it is. There's no back and forth. He's a bandwagon.
Oh.
Yeah,
they're 11-5. He's on it.
You know, if I was going to give up on the Lions, I think it would have been the year they went 0-16.
That's
and I
right,
had
girl.
season tickets that year, and that was the year I felt like, you know what, this team is going to turn around. That's when I really dug my heels, and it's like, I'm with this team no matter what. So nothing will pull me away from it.
Ride or die chick, dude. I love it.
Diana, thank you for calling the Detroit Sports Podcast.
Thanks. Have a good one.
Take it easy, dear. I love it, dude. Ride or die, man. Come on now. Come on.
Adam, the Lions are just got to be sitting pretty. They're printing money. They're making a profit. They make a profit before anybody even buys one ticket. We got callers who Ndamukong Suh leaves the organization, and callers call up the Doc and Jock program and tell us, I'm ride or die.
That's right, man.
What else can you say? Ride or die with the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny.
I need some Eve playing right now. I'm a ride or die chick. That's what I need.
Kenny's like, he jumped off. One of my best friends, Kenny, would stick with the Lions through thick and thin. He jumped off 3 years ago. He's like, I'm a Broncos fan now.
He's a smart man. That's cool. I mean, what are you going to do? But shit, man. That's how Lions fans are, dude. We're like the most loyal, we are abused women. That's what it is. We have that husband who comes home from the bar drunk and angry. He kicks the dog and we accidentally fall into the coffee table. That's what we are. And that's how it is. It's horrible. It sucks to say that, but that is what Lions fans are. We are loyal to the end, and we'll stick up for our team, and nobody can talk smack about our team but us. Because if you start talking about the Lions, you say all kinds of bad stuff, guess what? You got a black and Honolulu blue eye. That's what happens, dude.
All right, cuz let's take a break. And when we come back, I'll play the interview that I did earlier this week with Leigh Steinberg, and then I'll get your reaction. Stay with us after the break. Doc's interview with Leigh Steinberg. DetroitSportsPodcast.com, Doc and Jock, episode 83. If you're a fan of Michigan, cuz, then you have to check out UofMDiehards.com. Check them out on Twitter. Check out their Facebook page. They are a page that's dedicated to all things University of Michigan. They follow every game. They follow recruits. They have great interviews. UofMDiehards.com. Doc and Jock. Check out that website quite a bit. If you're a fan of Michigan, there's no better website to check out than uofmdiehards.com.
I'm go blue, baby.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for your support. Lots of ways to support us here at the podcast. If you like what you're listening to, if you enjoy the podcast, if you want us to continue to provide great content every Monday and Thursday, if you want us to continue to take phone calls, just go to our website, DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Click through those banner links. Lots of great online deals. I know everybody that's listening likes to save money. DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Click through those banner links, bookmark them, and every time you shop online, nothing extra happens. You get charged no more money. But when you shop online through DetroitSportsPodcast.com, they kick us back a little something, and we can continue to provide great content. DetroitSportsPodcast.com. We greatly appreciate it. Yes, sir.
You ain't gotta say too much. Hate when you say that I play too much. When I get too close, I'ma touch that subject. I could read your body, enough said. Quit all that yapping, need less talk and a little more action. Yeah, now girl, keep it G, know you speak a little freak. I can hear it in your accent. Said, tell me, can you understand my language? If you try and ride, just stay in my lane. There's no other way to explain it in layman.
All right, Detroit Sports Podcast listeners. On the line, he has spent nearly 40 years representing athletes, brands, and celebrities. Leigh Steinberg joins us on the podcast. Thank you, Leigh. How are you today?
Glad to be with you.
Thank you very much. Around town, lots of news was made this week regarding Ndamukong Suh signing the largest contract for a defensive player in the NFL. Lots of talk regarding, how this deal came about. Both sides, Miami offered him a little bit more guaranteed money than the Lions. So just first off, I'm interested just to get your opinion on, what you thought of Ndamukong Suh signing with Miami.
It became clear that the cap number for Suh was so high that while he's absolutely essential for defensive line and for the whole defense on Detroit, it would have, in essence, taken 20-something% of the entire salary cap to sign him, which would have precluded the Lions from being effective in a lot of other positions. So it was clear that he was leaving. What's interesting about the timing of all this is that free agency is not supposed to start until March 10. And this deal was negotiated and announced over the weekend prior, which seems to me to be against the NFL rules. Nonetheless, we're seeing deals all over the league that appear to be pre-negotiated. The guaranteed money is what you want to look at, and $60 million is a signing bonus that eclipses virtually anything else that we've seen in the NFL, or $60 million of guaranteed money, I should say. And the overall amount is not as important, because what basically happens is that the player gets the guarantee or the signing bonus, plays a year, plays 2 years, and then at the point that the salaries start to become very large, the contract is probably either renegotiated to be more cap friendly. And if the player's not worth that amount, he won't get it. But still, it's staggering amount of money. Players like Ndamukong Suh don't get loose in free agency. It's not designed that way. It's designed for teams to keep extending the contracts of their irreplaceable players. And if one of those players can't somehow make a deal, they franchise him. So you don't have a player, an A-plus player like Suh, loose on the market. And I think that's what occasioned the size of the contract and the centrality of the position he plays to anchor down the middle of the defense is just so critically important.
A lot of talk around Detroit is centered on, did Suh really want to come back versus deferring to his agent, Jimmy Sexton, to take the large contract. So I'm fascinated to get your insight regarding your experience. Now, there's obviously two offers on the table, and Ndamukong Suh has the offer from the Lions, and then he has the offer presented from Miami. As an agent, would a player like Ndamukong Suh, if he wanted to stay and he came to you with that and said, hey, I want to stay in Detroit, and you knowing that there's a larger offer, how would you advise him?
What you do in free agency is to take a player and encourage him to do an internal inventory of what his values and priorities are. So you take things like short-term economic gain, long-term economic security, the geographical location, the weather, the lifestyle, family considerations, profile, and then the football considerations, being on a winning team, the quality of coaching, the system they play, the facilities. Different people will assess those factors in different ways. We're dealing with rumors and reports, but it didn't look to me as if there was a major amount of differential between what the Lions were willing to pay and what the Dolphins ended up paying. If it was, it's certainly not enough to affect someone's lifestyle. Remember, these players, if they get $3 million more a year and they're making 25, it's not as if they say, well, we'll add a new roof to our home, we'll buy another Winnebago, or we'll take a better vacation. They're far past those considerations. So it's pretty clear that had Ndamukong Suh saw his future and wanted to stay with Detroit, he would have taken Detroit's offer, even if it was slightly less. So clearly, either he wanted to change or the marginal difference between the two offers was important to him. But this is someone who's going to be financially set for the rest of his life, whether he took one offer or the other.
As an agent, though, representing Suh, would you advise him to lean towards taking the higher offer? Or if he tells you, Leigh, I want to stay in Detroit, how much pull would you think you'd have with him to get him to possibly take the higher offer?
I wouldn't try to get him to take the higher offer. If you go through the analysis, my job at the end of the day is to fulfill players' ultimate hopes and dreams. It's not simply to define them as economic. So the reality is, I'll give you an example. Back in the first year of free agency in '93, there was a player named Tim McDonald who was an absolute free agent. He was completely free. So we had to look at a series of teams. I asked him what was critical to him. He said he wanted to win, which he hadn't done with the Phoenix Cardinals, and he wanted to get closer to California. So there were 4 different teams came into the mix, I think, Philadelphia, Atlanta, St. Louis. When San Francisco came into the mix, he said, I am going to be closer to my hometown, and that team always wins. So he said to me, get me the biggest deal you can from San Francisco, as opposed to bid off the teams and get the biggest economic deal, because he knew he'd be happy. So it depends on the players. My job is to let a player make a decision about what really makes him happy. If someone would take less money to be on a winner, if they take less money to be in a certain geographical location, if they take less money because they love the coach, or whatever their considerations, my job is to get them to that place.
Okay, so then it is kind of fair for the fans who are angry at Suh to feel that way because, the offers, like you said, weren't that significantly different. Obviously, there is a tax advantage to living in Florida and Miami, but for the fans that are angry, are they justified then? Because obviously, if he wanted to stay, he would have.
He would have been financially set for the rest of his life. So the key to that is that he obviously either made an economic decision or he simply wanted to leave.
Okay. I recently read your book, The Agent, My 40-Year Career Making Deals and Changing the Game. And I know you recently spoke in Miami regarding negotiating contracts. For those of us who don't get a chance to negotiate big money deals with these high-priced athletes, to talk about how exciting it is to sit across the table and make these huge deals for athletes who are going to get life-changing money and potentially change the outcome of their families.
There are different categories of deals that are made, and each one's different. So a draft pick coming out of school, for example, is now salary capped in both football and basketball. So that's a deal without a lot of negotiability. That came in 2011 in football. Then there are veteran deals. Those are much more challenging and exciting because player has more leverage and the money has been pushed back for veteran contracts. The most exciting is free agency, because it's the only situation in sports where an actual free market exists, where the player can sign wherever he wants, and you get multiple teams involved in the mix. And free agency is a very heady process because a player can decide based on what his alternatives are. So it makes them feel more empowered. It gives them a choice, and the leverage then many times shifts to the player. So those deals are very exciting. Now, the key to negotiating in sports is to try to craft a win-win contract so that you've correctly anticipated what's critical to a team, put your head in their heart and mind, and understand the world the way they see it. Because if you can truly understand what a team needs out of a contract, you can be creative in structuring a deal that is advantageous. We deal in repetitive contracts. So the key is that to take advantage of any one deal, to be dishonest, to brag about it, you're clearly going to have to negotiate with that same person over and over again. In general, if you stay within sports, and specifically if you have to do a second contract. So it keeps things within bounds. There has to be a certain civility, honesty, and respect.
We're speaking with Leigh Steinberg, longtime agent. I want to thank you for giving us a few minutes. I want to get you out of here on this. On the podcast, we like to get to know our guests, and we like to ask this last question of our guests. One venue, any sport, you got 4 tickets, and you can take 3 people and a time machine. What sport do you watch, and who do you watch it with?
Well, it'd probably be the Super Bowl, and it would be with a defensive player, a star like a Bruce Smith or Derek Thomas. It would be with an offensive player like a Troy Aikman or Steve Young or Warren Moon, and it might be with a lineman who could be any great offensive lineman, because each of them will give you the perspective. They watch a game in a different way. And I once watched a baseball game with the famous base stealer, Maury Wills, and we went to a Dodger game. And he would tell me every time a runner was on base whether he was going to steal or not. So they have a different view of the game, and it really is fascinating to watch it with them.
Leigh, thank you very much. You can check out Leigh's work at steinbergsports.com. If you want to buy his book, The Agent, you can go through the Amazon banner at DetroitSportsPodcast.com. Leigh, thank you for a few minutes. We greatly appreciate your time. We hope down the line to chat again.
My pleasure, anytime.
That was longtime agent Leigh Steinberg. Cuz, you listened to it? What'd you think? And also now I get a chance to, you can critique me. How was the interview? And you listened to it. How can you not listen to that and just start to feel furious regarding Ndamukong Suh?
First off, I want to applaud you. You did a very nice job. You did a great job. I'm shocked that you did this good without me here holding your hand. So excellent job. But what he said, it makes a lot of sense to me, and it doesn't really make me upset. And the reason it doesn't make me upset is because I was prepared for this. I didn't think, and I was prepared for this for over 1.5 years now. I never thought Ndamukong Suh wanted to be here. I always thought that he wanted to be out of here. So I sat there, and for 1.5 years, I've been preparing myself for his move when free agency opened up. And it just so happened that it happened to be the Miami Dolphins, and I'm okay with that. And it's what it is, man. I mean, I'm not pissed off to where I want to set the world on fire. Like I said, I was prepared for it. I'm more upset with the organization for failing to sit there and back themselves up with any type of a plan B. It was Ndamukong Suh or bust, and it busted all over their face. So, like a bad porno movie, somebody go get them a towel so they can clean up.
All right, stay with us after the break. We are going to reveal Instagram account of the week, WTF Facebook posts that drove me crazy, and we'll play a round of Jock Jams to end the podcast. Stay with us, DetroitSportsPodcast.com, DocNJock, episode 83. Definitely check out the guys at the Detroit Sports Nation, DetroitSportsNation.com. Great website. They are unbelievable. They are killing it on Facebook. Give them a like at their Facebook page, Detroit Sports Nation, and definitely check out their website, DetroitSportsNation.com. Our collaboration with them has been excellent, and they continue to be a strong presence here on the podcast because they bring the noise and they have great content. So thank you guys again. We can't thank you enough.
You're the future of our business, and I know when you guys have a podcast like this, our future is in good hands.
You got to check out their stuff. I mean, I'm really impressed by it. You guys have probably one of the better ones I've seen in the country.
Wow.
In a short period of time, you've done good work. Look at me kissing your hand.
I know.
You've been listening to the Doc and Jock podcast. Thank you very much for downloading. If you like what you hear, tell a friend. That's how we continue to grow this thing. Thank you very much for downloading the podcasts every Monday and Thursday. All right, cuz that time of the week.
My favorite part of the week right here.
This is the time of the week where we reveal.
Chicks wearing no clothes. Let's go.
Where we reveal how Doc and Jock slack off during work. We look up Instagram pictures, we look up Facebook posts, and we have to reveal our silliness. So this is the Instagram account of the week.
Oh my God.
Oh man, great picture this week.
Great. Vinny just lost it all over his pants.
Great account this week. Instagram.com/Anna Sherry.
She's hot, dude.
ANACHERI. So when I spell it out, all you got to do is go to Instagram, go to that lovely search bar, and type in ANACHERI. 1.9 million followers. Simple profile. It just says be positive, be thankful, and a bunch of her links where you can go to her website and all that. You can find her on Twitter. Gives out her email too. So good stuff.
You're creeping on her, aren't you? You're already shooting her.
When
you're sending her all kinds of pictures through the email, aren't you?
So give us a description, cuz brunette. Last week we went to blonde.
We did.
This week, brunette. We give love to the brunette.
I love
good
brunettes.
looking woman. She's a good looking woman.
I love brunettes. Actually, can I tell you a quick story about her?
You know her?
Well, not personally. I wish. Initially, I was made aware of her presence being on Earth for another site that I follow on Facebook called HD Body, which is a lot of chicks who are like into working out and fitness broads who are in really good shape and take bathing suit pictures all day long. Anyways, I stumbled across her and I was like, whoa, yeah, she's pretty hot. I sat there and I looked through all of her pictures or whatever. And then this past week at the bar, I was sitting there rapping with my buddy Matt, and Matt's like, dude, this chick, she's my number one. Like, I like her a whole lot. And he showed me a picture, and I was like, "Oh yeah, dude, yeah, she's well put together." And like me and him had this whole back and forth where we started exchanging pictures and showing each other because we're creeps like that. But yeah, dude, she's something special, dude. That's for damn sure. She's a shred. She's a Shreds with a Z. She's a Shreds model. So they're a supplement company for women. Anyways, brunette, nice fit body. She's got a strong upstairs. She's got a nice thin waist, pretty in the face. Great booty on her. Plus, I mean, she'll probably outwork any of you guys who are listening right now. I mean, that's for damn sure. Chicks in the gym just getting it in, looking like a sweet savage.
ANACHERI. Great Instagram account. And
the best are her lingerie pictures. Check that one out.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, there you go.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's
real pretty face, dude.
So what do you feel about women taking pictures on Instagram? I mean, when you look at accounts like this, we greatly, I know we come across them, we look at them. Some women will be like, "Ew, come on, she's just doing it for money." But when you look like that and you're brunette and you're in good shape, you should take pictures like that in lingerie, in dresses, in bathing suits,
or naked, and just send them to me.
And unfortunately, cuz you don't know the Instagram rules. Instagram, if you post inappropriate pictures, you got to go to Twitter.
That's okay. You can
Instagram will block you.
You can direct message me at what's my Twitter handle here? Adam R. Stroz, STROZ. Just direct message me any of those naked pictures you ladies want to send out. I'm okay with it.
Instagram account of the week. Another one. Where else are you going to get this great information?
Anna sharing. Sexy.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yes, sir.
Benny
Check us out.
Doubled up in his pants.
All right. Now, also, when you're at work and things are a little bit slow or, you want to slack off a little bit, you go to Facebook, and on my podcast account, which got switched to, I had to change it and put my real name on there, but it's under Detroit Sports Chat. And so I have a lot of friends that I'm not really in contact with outside of Facebook, but I have over 2,500 Facebook friends on the podcast account. And so I come across a lot of interesting stuff. And I was just scrolling through and I'm like, wow, I come across a lot of weird stuff that we should talk about and see. And this week it was crazy. I scrolled and I saw two things. A lot of people like to share, they like to share world star hip hop videos. They like to share these unbelievable videos that they find online, and you can just quickly upload it to Facebook. So the two that were the craziest this week, in my opinion, the WTF Facebook posts from Doc and Jock this week, two of them. TMZ got a hold of Suge Knight in a surveillance video, I guess. Dr. Dre was in production of the NWA movie, and Suge Knight went up there and some things went down. Well, there's a video on TMZ of Suge Knight it's kind of grainy, but he pulls up and, dude's whether it be security or people that knew him, kind of approached the car, and all of a sudden it's real slow. All of a sudden you see Suge Knight back up, and dude floors it and runs a dude over. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is TMZ. It said graphic, and I don't know why, but when that label is on a picture or video, I got to click it. So I clicked it, and I'm like, get out of here. Unbelievable video on Facebook. Got a lot of views. TMZ definitely ran that story quite a bit. I could not believe that all Suge Knight had to do was basically turn his car and go the other way. Now, his defense is he thought that someone had a gun, might shoot him, and based on his history, he's probably a little bit trigger happy, and he literally ran the guy over. And it's unfortunate. It's really a disgusting video. Now, couple that with another disgusting Facebook video, but it's gotten a lot of talk.
Wait, before you go on to that one, I watched that video, and you ever watch something, and after you watch it, you feel awful about yourself for having watched it? That video is that graphic, and just the nature of it, I felt awful and I felt dirty, and I was like, what happens is it gets like, because I went to TMZ's website and I looked at it, and I got like the first minute into it, and like the first minute and a half, and then they sit there and they basically show it all over again. I couldn't watch it a second time. I was like, I'm good. Like my body felt weird. Like I felt numb, and I felt it's gross, man. Like, and can somebody just lock Suge Knight up already, please? Like, how many more people does he have to kill or be involved with when people die? Like, Suge Knight's a bad dude. Suge Knight, you're a horrible person. I don't care if you hear me. You're an awful person. Like, you need to go someplace. I really wish that guy would have shot him so it'd be all done and over with. Go someplace, Suge Knight. I don't give a hell if you were friggin' Death Row Records and Death Row was sweet back when I was a little kid. Go someplace. You're horrible.
The views expressed by the Jock do not necessarily reflect those views of the other podcast hosts or others here at the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
In case Suge Knight comes after me.
Go after the Jock. That's Jock.
Come get me, Suge.
All right, cousin.
On top of it, he's treading on my other nickname, man. They call me Suge. Some bullshit.
Suge Straws? Oh, very interesting. Yeah. Suge Straws. Okay, interesting. And then now a cell phone video that's captured the country, but not too surprising. Cuz, did you know something? Breaking news. There's racism in the South.
In the South, yes, there is.
There's racism in the South?
Yes.
Are you
and
serious?
in other news, water's wet.
Oh my God!
Racism in the South. Okay,
I think we're going to take this drop away from you.
No, I love it. It's my favorite one, obviously.
Yeah, those kids are idiots, man.
Yeah,
like I watched that too, and I was like, "You're
on a
stupid.
bus nowadays.
Freaking stupid. What's wrong with you?
Unbelievable. You're on a bus. You're chanting a disgusting, disturbing song with the N-word in it, and you don't think that at any point in this society, it just shows complete lack of awareness as to what's going around you.
It just shows ignorance. Like, why? What's the point of even saying a word like that or acting like that? There's no point. You have no dignity. You have no self-respect. You're an idiot. And all of your friends who are sitting there chanting along with you, do any of you have a brain? Can any of you stand up for yourself? Can anybody speak up and sit there and talk about what you're doing and how stupid you look? Like, you look so stupid. You look ignorant. You look like the dog crap I stepped in before I walked into the studio today. You're just shit stuck in my shoe.
What makes it disturbing is that they're so gleeful and so proud of it. Like, it's really one of those things where where are you living? In this day and age, equality, we talk about equality in terms of race, sexuality, and you do that thing openly in public, and it's just...
Like, it's no big deal.
Yeah, and
what happens behind closed doors is what I really want to know.
Exactly. Now, you bring shame to the fraternity, you bring shame to yourself. I mean,
your university, everything you got going on.
How can that guy who was chanting go out in public and actually, succeed in life when you do that kind of stuff? It's just, where are the people's brains? How could you... Not one person pulls them aside and go, hey, dude,
don't do that. Right. It's all... You made mistakes in college. I made a ton of mistakes in college. That's why it took me so long to get my freaking degree. All right? But I didn't do stuff like that. My mom taught me better. On top of that, I never thought like that. Why? How are you raised?
They're raised to believe that because that's where it's coming from. It's coming from the parents. But the part that is disturbing
is... most disturbing, I think.
Yeah, in this country, you can have whatever thoughts you want. It's a free country. But you have to also be aware that in this day and age, you have to have a cell phone checker, dude. If you're going to do stupid stuff...
Everything is caught on film, dude.
When you go out in public and you want to act a fool, you have to have somebody that, when you start acting a fool, goes to the, scans the scene, make sure no one's taking the camera, or if someone's taking video, they swat the person or do something, because it's not
that's
to condone.
Why I'm not as off the chain as I used to be, because I used to be totally off the chain.
It's not that we condone it, but you got to be more self-aware. You can't be that stupid in today's society. And for that video to come out is really disgusting, really disturbing. We were grossed out. So the question is, which of those two videos, which one was worse for the week? Worst Facebook post, week of March 10th, 2015. WTF.
I mean, they were both really disgusting, but I think on shock value alone, the Suge Knight one really kind of had me shook. Like, it was just because you've seen that guy get ran over, and like he was just like, he got clipped initially and then he got ran over. Like, everything got crushed. So I think that one was probably most jarring for me. The other one was just disgusting, and people in the South who are dumb and ignorant and are racist, that's really nothing new. So it was more just appalling, but didn't really shock me. The other one shocked me, man. It was pretty graphic.
What the hell is that about?
All right, so Suge Knight, I agree with you. That was my vote for the WTF Facebook post of the week. Doc and Jock slack off every week. It's not just a one-time thing. So we'll be bringing you crazy videos, crazy Instagram accounts each and every week on the Doc and Jock sports program. And also, too, cuz it provides us a chance to get some sponsors for these segments. So way to go, Doc. Yes, sir.
Always patting yourself on the back.
You have to.
Is your arm broken yet?
You know who I blame for that?
Who?
RVD.
Yeah.
Thumbs down, point to yourself. It's all television's fault. That's what corrupted me. I watched a lot of wrestling and I watched a lot of television, so that's what corrupted me, man.
I really don't think it was the television that messed you up.
No. You're really weird.
All right, cuz let's get to Jock Jams. The Doc has a lot of great questions. We got a lot more to talk about in Detroit sports, so let's do this. All right, cuz middle of spring training.
I'm still dancing.
All right, lots of news regarding the Tigers making moves, kind of watching what the starters are doing. But a point of concern that's just in the news, that's in the Twitter timeline a lot. Jose Iglesias and his shins. Lots of concern, and it's so funny when you're injured. It just seems like you start fouling balls off your shin, you start running bases, and you slide and you hurt your shin. The shin injury, very concerning. How worried are you that this dude, who's very important to the infield, will make it 162 games for the Tigers?
Okay, first off, I don't think he's making 162 games. He's a little guy. I don't think he's having durability issues now. So I don't think he's going to make it 162 games. I think he'll be platooned. But his shin injury, I don't think is a huge concern. I think it's something that can be managed. I think it's something that can be watched. He's talking about putting some type of a guard or padding in to help prevent his shin. So if he does slide into a base, or if a runner comes in and they hit him in the shin, or if he takes another foul ball off the shin, which Brad Osmus said he's played baseball for 25 years or been in and around the game for 25 years, and he's never seen anything like that ever in his entire life. So that being said, I think it was a freak injury that happened where he took JD Martinez line drive off the shin. I'm not really concerned about this. I think he's going to be okay. Shin splints, and to the degree that he had his shin splint injury, it's a big deal, but it's nothing that's not overcomable. And you can sit there, and if you manage it right and you watch yourself and you do all the things the correct way and you do what the doctors tell you, you'll be okay. So I'm not concerned.
No concern. Let's be positive with the Tigers. JV's curveball looked nice in his start. You know, other starters a little bit shaky. Sanchez, his performance was great. So let's just keep it rolling, and let's just hope.
Fredo Simon had a good outing too. So
let's just
it's
hope
looking good.
Yeah, let's hope the bullpen can redeem itself this year, if at all possible. All right, cuz let's get back to the Lions a little bit. Former Lion Lawrence Jackson loves him some Twitter, loves him some spouting off. Dude, whenever he gets a chance to spout off and kick the Lions when they're down, dude takes advantage. If you want to find him on Twitter, it's at LowJackson94. Dude went off on the Lions right around the time when everyone's kind of down, feeling sensitive. Lawrence Jackson's there going, Matthew Stafford sucks, and he don't put in the effort. This organization's soft. We should look at Lewand and Mayhew for the future of the organization. Dude, Lawrence Jackson, by all accounts, their parting was somewhat amicable. I mean, he wasn't formally cut. His contract expired, and they just didn't renew it. So it wasn't one of those situations where, why do you have such an axe to grind, bro? But dude is sitting there kicking the Lions. So let's go to the one that obviously was the one that he wanted to garner the most attention. Dude tweeted out that he felt Matthew Stafford, our quarterback that's supposed to lead the Lions, doesn't feel puts in enough work in order to be a world-class caliber quarterback. Your reaction?
All right, let's look at where LoJack is coming here. He's friends with Ndamukong Suh.
My quarterback.
Yeah, that's right. But that's his D tackle too. So he's friends with Ndamukong Suh. and he felt insulted by the offer that came out, or what is speculated that the Lions gave. So he was insulted for Ndamukong Suh, which at this point, just mind your business, and that's not your problem. Ndamukong Suh is going to be okay. You know what I'm saying? He's got $60 million guaranteed that says he's going to be A-okay, bro. But I don't really think he was all that out of line. I mean, have you seen a dramatic improvement in Matt Stafford since he's become a pro? Have you seen him take leaps and bounds just moving forward and really helping this offense? And have you seen him have a really great season? He had that one good year, but have you seen anything else?
Not my quarterback.
Right. So I don't really think he was all that out of line. And I mean, I think he was getting ready for SmackDown too, because he was laying the SmackDown and it looked like he wanted to body slam Matt Stafford and somebody in the Lions organization. So I don't think he was too out of line. I think everything he said, he had a point. He made his point. Tom Lewand and Martin Mayhew, they're sometimes bumbling idiots, and
That's unbelievable.
They offer insulting deals to players, which I don't know if the offer for Ndamukong Suh was really all that insulting. I think it was a pretty solid, fair offer. But him slamming Matt Stafford, I think he's just calling him out, saying, hey, you get paid like the leader. You need to be the leader, but there's no leadership and you're not accountable when it matters. So I don't really think there was too much of an issue there. I've not seen Matt Stafford get better in all the years that he's been here. He had one really good year where everybody's like, wow, he had that one really good year. And if he could just recapture that, it'll be all great. But he had that one magical season in 2011, and I've been waiting for another. So I don't think he was out of line.
Now, which one do I ask? Red Wings? I'll give you the choice. Red Wings or Pistons?
Let's go Wings.
Okay.
I like Wings.
Okay. Wings got a charity 2 points when you play Edmonton. I mean, Edmonton is not a great team and struggled a little bit at first, giving up the opening goal on Monday night, but you get the 2 points versus Edmonton. You play them on the schedule, you move on, you earn the 2 points. That's what you got to do. But prior to that, last week, the first week of March was a rough stretch. They did play a lot higher level of competition. A player that was noticeably awful and really quite concerning in terms of how awful his play was Stephen Weiss. And versus Edmonton was a healthy scratch, the good old healthy scratch. Dude hasn't played well in a long time. He's not producing, and just when he was just starting to get into a groove, but then it kind of fell off. And the Red Wings always seem to kind of shoot themselves in the foot right when they get that momentum. You send Pulkkinen down, I get it. You want him to qualify for the Grand Rapids playoffs. Unbelievable. Dude was lighting it up, and you sent him back down. Good job. You brought him back at the right time. Pulkkinen's hot, and you got to keep him in the lineup. But Stephen Weiss was seeing power play time. He just got benched. Your reaction, have you seen Weiss play worse, and why? Why is Stephen Weiss still wearing a Red Wings uniform?
I don't know if we've seen the worst of Stephen Weiss, but
it can get worse? Oh, shit.
I think it can. I'm going to give you a little insight on maybe what's going on with him. So the trade deadline just passed, and there was a lot of speculation that he was supposed to be traded to Toronto for Dion Phaneuf. He was supposed to be included in that. So when you're brought in and you're paid a large contract like he was, there's a lot of pressure put on you as a player, and you're not really living up to that end of the deal. And then there's talks about you not being wanted by this organization. All this starts to play a little bit in your mind, and then you start second-guessing yourself, and you see it in his play. He's been horrible. He's been awful. He's been bad for the last 2 years. He's been a giant disappointment. This goes down as one of those moves that Ken Holland makes, and somehow Ken Holland figures out a way to get out of it. It's almost like the Franzen deal. Franzen deal is a horrible deal, right? The Weiss deal is a horrible deal. These are two deals that are saddlebagging this team right now. So I think a lot of this is just all mental with Stephen Weiss right now. He's not hurt. By all accounts, he's healthy. Maybe not 100% because at this stage of the season, nobody's ever 100%, but he's healthy. I think a lot of this is all mental. I think a lot of things are going on in his head. I think he feels disowned by this organization because they were looking to trade him possibly. I think that he's putting a lot of pressure on himself. And I think the reason that you've seen him on the power play was trying to sit there and stir that killer instinct out of him to get the most out of him, to try to jar him back into playing. Maybe he gets a soft one off a power play. Maybe he sits there, puts one in the net. Maybe it's a garbage goal. Maybe it's a nice snipe. Maybe it's something. And I think a lot of this is all mental with him. So I think maybe he needs to come in and sit down with the doc and maybe talk with the doc.
How are you feeling, Stephen Weiss? Then he stops. How are you feeling, Stephen? What's going on here? No, man, I
feel like my organization doesn't love me. My penis is small.
I like Peter
I can't
Mrazek.
score.
My goalie's going to be traded. Man. Okay, so then real fast, lots of people, it's back and forth every game when Howard plays. Howard's great, Howard stinks.
He gave up a softie against Edmonton. That was awful.
A lot of people pointed out over a 0.93% save versus Edmonton.
Yep.
And I had to point out on Facebook, it's Edmonton. It's Edmonton. How are you going to give him love? It's Edmonton. When he played, he played good though versus the Rangers. He kept him in. He kept him in that game, but
stole that game for him.
Yeah,
it's just he's inconsistent right now. You know what? I read a nice article about with a couple quotes from him. And he knows he's inconsistent. He said as much. He's come out and he said that he needs to start playing better. He needs to sit there in every game that he goes out there. He's trying to sit there and figure it out. He's trying to work on his game, and he's trying to get everything corrected to where he can go out there and you can count on him 110%. Because right now, he's up and down. He's like a girl who's on her period. Up and down, dude. It's a disaster. You don't know what you're getting. Hot, cold, indifferent, whatever. So he gives up a couple softies. They sit there. They steal the 2 points against Edmonton. We'll take that. He looked abysmal games before that. He looked great against the Rangers. That's been his season so far since he's come back from this injury. So hopefully he gets it figured out before playoffs. You know what? I'll take him cold and I'll take him hot and cold right now. And if he can turn it on in the playoffs and steal us a series or two, oh yeah, that's what I want.
That was another great round of Jock Jams. Doc brought the questions. Jock took care of business, handled the questions with respect. All good, sir. Another great podcast, sir.
You too, brother.
See, it's fun. It's fun to do this when we get a chance to interact with the followers and listeners of the podcast. So thank you to the callers. We greatly appreciate it. 248-230-4567 is our phone number.
I think me and Abe were going to have a screaming match at one point.
You and Abe were disagreeing. It's good. That's
me and
what
Abe
it's about.
always disagree.
That's what it's about. Sports debate. We talk about the important topics. We get great guests. Leigh Steinberg, the inspiration for Jerry effing Maguire, talked to Doc about Ndamukong Suh and shared his experience. That guy sits there with probably $1,000 suits, sits there with another general manager who's rolling in dough, and they sit there and they hash out deals. And he spent some time. He was very gracious and very nice, and it was a fun experience. I was going to say, I will be honest, I was a little bit nervous because you kind of feel like, hey, I'm talking to an agent, like a guy that represents guys, and he gets checks for 4% of big contracts. I reached out to him directly, and he said, "Hey, go through this channel, and we'll get it set up."
That's cool.
That's what I love about doing podcasts.
He was a great interview.
Good stuff, right? Yeah. Great insight regarding suits. I'm really happy that we got to kind of broaden our experience regarding how a player and an agent handle these type of deals and what they kind of talk about. Leigh's one of those guys that, just like in Jerry Maguire, he's all about his client, and it makes you think, hey, what would it have taken for Suh to want to be part of Detroit? It's one of those things where
$115 million.
$115 million.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
61 guaranteed.
And it's just really I can't be angry. It's disappointing. I'm really happy though. I'm invested in Detroit. I love being in Detroit, and we're not going anywhere to do a podcast talking. I'm not talking about Wisconsin sports. All about Detroit, baby. I'm staying here. I'm not going anywhere. Maybe, we could get a vacation home when it's really cold, but come back and reside in Michigan. I don't care what the tax advantages are. Mm-hmm. Michigan is home, and it just stinks though when athletes, because fans invest a lot. That's really the great dichotomy of sports, is that I fully believe an athlete has to become invested in the town he works in order to achieve that playoff success. And whenever it's about business, I think now if I was a general manager and I'm getting my education, I don't draft guys who are about business. I draft guys that are about loyalty, respect, and hustle. You like who?
Your time is up, my time is now. You can't see me, my time is now.
Like John effing Cena, baby. Hustle, loyalty, and respect. With that, I got you to frown. My goal is accomplished for the week. For the Jock Adam Straczynski, I'm the fucking crazy John the Doc Macaroon.
I'm the man. Woo!
Woo!
Somebody help me. Go Wings.